Hello and welcome to the first actual video in this new tutorial series. Um, so when you open up Chief Architect Premiere Academic Version, the first thing we want to do is create a new plan from a template. And when you click on that, you'll see a couple of different templates. We're going to just use the residential template. You can do a number of other ones, commercial ones. They'll have different default values, and they're just like this has a reasonable set of default values for all sorts of different things, like the types of walls coverings, siding, and things like that. And I'll show you how to customize a lot of that as we kind of move through this thing. We're not going to follow every last detail that's in the tutorial series, so I'm just kind of giving you the broad strokes and the overview. And I'll kind of pause and then like fast forward a little bit, and then I'll just show you some of the main details and the things that we want to look at. So, all right. So without further ado, the first thing we want to learn how to do is create exterior walls. We want to build something with some volume, something with some space. But before we do that, we're going to save our project. I'm going to save this as in my folder. So this is actually going to save locally on your machine. So unlike the SketchUp tutorials that we did before, which save in the cloud, this is actually going to save on your local machine. So a good practice to get into would be to make sure that it automatically uploads to, say, a Google Drive or something like that. But I'm not even doing that. I'm just putting it in my documents folder. So I'm going to call this cottage, similar to the one in the tutorial series in the PDF that is linked in the documentation or linked in the assignment. So to create a wall, you go to Build, and you go to Wall, and you want a straight exterior wall. You can do curved ones as well. Alternately, you can just use the Wall tool here on here. So straight exterior wall, and then to create the wall, you just click and drag out, let's say, somewhere between 13 and 14 feet. And then we'll use the mouse wheel to scroll in, and then you click on the mouse wheel to pan left, right, and up and down. So panning is done by holding down the middle mouse wheel, and then zooming in and out is done by scrolling the mouse wheel. So we're always in sort of a top-down view for making floor plans like this. One thing that I do want to show everybody is how to define new kinds of wall types. So if we hit the space bar, it brings up the select tool, which is this one right here. So select objects tool, which is really, really important, and that's why it's mapped to the space bar kind of by default. So you hit the space bar and you get the regular pointer arrow, and that allows you to select objects like walls, staircases, rooms, things like that. Now if you select this and then hit this little open door button down here, this will open up sort of like a dialog that allows you to edit this object, whatever this object is. So this is an exterior wall. You can kind of see right now it's got some sidings, and it has studs in the middle, and it has sheetrock inside. So just for example, let's do something kind of fun. Let's go into wall types. Right now this is siding 6. There's a whole bunch of different wall types that are defined by the app. How you define your own is to click this define button up here, and then right now it's got this siding 6. Let's just copy that one straight out. And then we're going to call it stone 6. Now the 6 is reference to the fact that it's a 2x6 exterior stud wall. And what you can do is you can see here that we have a different we can be really detailed about what the actual layers of the wall are. So for example, right now we have this lap siding. We don't want the lap siding necessarily. We want something a little different. We want some stone. So let's say that this is going to be a little bit thicker, so it's going to be stone. Let's say it'll be 1 5/16 inches. So it's a little bit thicker now. And then we're going to take a new type of material. We'll do stacked stone. So you can click on the material that this the outer layer is, and then we'll do, I'm just going to search for stacked stone because I know that it's in there. And it gives you kind of some samples of what it looks like when it's applied to certain, I don't know why it always applies it to a teapot. It's a little odd, but now it's applied to the exterior wall. Now, of course, if you're going to add a wall like this, you actually do need to insert another layer below. So the stacked stone is selected, so we're going to insert another below, and we'll do some sort of thin mortar, thin set mortar. Yeah, there we go. So there'll be some mortar. So you can actually be super detailed about this, and you should be. Mortar sets would be, the mortar would be about 3/8 of an inch, and it probably doesn't need any sort of pattern. No pattern. So this is like the plan view. This is what it looks like kind of in the plan. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger here, so you can kind of see. This is what the wall will look like in plan. It's got the hash mark, the hashes that define like the outer layer of it, and then the interior part. Let's just, to make it differentiated between the regular stud wall, we're gonna change the plan look of it. We'll make it look kind of like a pale yellow or something like that, so that it looks like, you know, just so that that we know that the yellow walls are those exterior walls. So you can kind of go in here and you can kind of do all sorts of things that create sort of like the definition of your wall. I've got stone, I've got mortar, I've got house wrap. I should probably add a layer for some wire mesh, but I'm going to ignore it for now. And then you've got house wrap, you could probably add insulation. So you can create a wall, and it'll tell you exactly what the total thickness of that wall is going to be. Yeah, actually, let's see. Let's make a layer below the house wrap. Insert below. Let's create a insulation sheet. Insulation sheet. There we go. Okay. And then that'll be another layer in between, and it'll be about let's say 1 inch. So 1 inch of insulation, and now the total thickness is now 9 1/8. So this is one way that you can define a wall. Or this is kind of how you go in and you define what a wall is, and then once you have that done, you can just draw as many walls as you want. So once we hit OK, and then we hit OK. That's now our wall. And now when we want to go further with this, we can just keep drawing. We can just say exterior walls, draw more exterior walls. We'll draw another one up, 15 feet or something like that. And then I noticed my the new wall that I just drew did not actually apply the correct material. So I'm going to actually undo that real quick. And then go up into here. This is some place this is a place you're going to go to quite a lot. You go into the edit menu, you hit default settings, and then I say exterior walls. The default exterior wall type is going to be my what did I call it? Stone 6, and I hit OK, and then I hit done. And now when I draw that line up, it's going to be the right one. So then we'll draw just kind of the rough shape of this house. I think this is actually going to be a little bit too big, but when you get to like here, it's going to snap to the same kind of. Notice how it snaps to the length of this wall, so that it'll allow me to easily close the house up. And there we go. Now I have the basic exterior wall set. Let's see what it looks like. Now, when I zoom in, I can see the stone set on the outside, and I can see the yellow stud walls. Go into the 3D menu and say, create a perspective view, and then grab the full camera, and then just click and drag inside the house. And then, here we are. We're inside the house. If you scroll the mouse wheel out, you can see what the outside looks like. It doesn't look like much yet. We haven't added windows and roof and stuff like that. None of that's been defined yet, but this is how it looks. Experiment with how to move around. You use the left mouse button to kind of rotate. You use the middle mouse button to kind of pan around, and you use the scroll wheel to sort of move in and out. And that's about it. That's it for this video. Well, in the next video, we'll learn how to set these dimensions accurately, and we'll learn how to do interior walls.